Plans to grow the economy, creating jobs and bold plans for structural reforms must be top of the agenda when President Cyril Ramaphosa opens the 7th Parliament on Thursday. This is the view from political parties both in and out of the Government of National Unity. Our senior parliamentary reporter Bulelani Phillip spoke to the DA's Chief Whip George Michalakis.
Parliament, the DA has been referred to as the official opposition, but now that you are in the GNU, how do you then want to refer yourself in this administration?
Well, Bulelani, obviously the Constitution allows, on the rules of Parliament, allow for the largest party outside of the government to be the official opposition, so we can't claim that title anymore. We are part of the GNU, we are in government, but we are still the second largest block of MPs in Parliament by quite some margin. We're quite a bit bigger than the MK, so we are the second largest party in Parliament, and that would be not an official title, but it would be something that we will hopefully be known as still the second largest political party in Parliament. But we will also ensure that through our work of holding the executive to account, the work of Parliament, the legislative duties that we have in terms of the Constitution, that we will also do the work of the second largest party in Parliament and contribute our weight into making sure that Parliament works well in this coming term.
In some quarters, there is concern that perhaps maybe Parliament may not be able to sufficiently play its oversight role, given that some of the committee chairpersons are within the Government of National Unity and they still need to hold the cabinet members that are in the GNU accountable. Do you think that you'll be able to strike that balance?
Well, I think those who make that argument need to understand what the role of Parliament is. We have got three spheres of government, or three branches. We've got the judiciary, which is independent. We've got the executive branch, which is the members of the cabinet and the deputy ministers. But then also we have the legislative branch, which is independent of the executive, and that's the whole role of Parliament. Is we need firstly to pass bills, but secondly we have a constitutional duty in terms of Section 55 of the Constitution to exercise oversight over the executive. Now, I think on the one hand it does make it a bit more of an interesting dynamic when the chairperson is from one party and the minister is from another. We are GNU parties, but we all have a job in Parliament to do. I don't think that it is a bad thing for parliamentarians, whichever party they're from, to hold the executive to account. In fact, that is our core duty, and our members of Parliament will continue to do so. Whether the minister is from the ANC or the DA or a different party, we have a job to do in Parliament, and we'll do it. We have had a very successful track record over the last 15 years in the Western Cape Parliament, where the DA members of Parliament ask often very difficult questions to the ministers and hold them to account. And the consequence of this is that Parliament functions very well, but at the same time you also have ministers who do their work a lot better because they are challenged on key things, and also because it's not just a question of finding fault, but as we have done many times in the past, it is about putting ideas on the table, and it is to a very large extent making sure to ask how Parliament can help the various state departments to also reach their strategic objectives that they have put on the table. So there's a big role for Parliament still to play.
As the DA, what are your expectations for the opening of Parliament speech by the President?
Well, the President will put the agenda for the coming year on the table. I think that is his privilege and prerogative to do, and we're looking forward to hearing what that will be. Obviously, we are hoping that it will be positively received and that it will reflect obviously the hopes and the wishes of the people of the country, and also the ideas put forward by all of the GNU partners for bettering the conditions in our country.
How are you going to navigate around policies that you've been opposed to in the past, like the National Health Insurance as well as the Bella Bill, now that you are within the Government of National Unity, particularly when those matters are coming here in Parliament?
Well, I mean, every party within the GNU has the freedom to indicate exactly what is their position on various things. We've made our position on the NHI very clear. There are still a few sections within Bella that we have problems with. There are other matters as well, like cadre deployment and race-based policies that we do have problems with, and we have been straight out on those things since the beginning. Our position is still the same. We will be arguing our position within the GNU, and where there is a compromise on matters going forward, we will obviously make that very clear. But on certain key issues, we have also made it clear that we will not compromise. I think it's important to remember that we did not amalgamate as political parties. We're not one single political party. We are 10, 11 different political parties, each with their own policies, that are working together for the better of the country. And we need to allow ourselves the space, and I think we are busy allowing ourselves the space among each other to say this is our position as a political party, and then to debate it. Debate is always good in a democracy, and as long as it's constructive, I think it will have very positive consequences for the country. But we can't compromise on certain key positions, and we are going to put those key positions forward within the GNU and stand firm on them.
In the first sitting of the National Assembly, the EFF did table a motion calling for the investigation over the Phala matter. As the MPs, how do you think you'll be able to respond to that motion?
Well, when the motion comes to the House, we'll obviously have to look at the facts that are before the House. It will come to our caucus for a decision, but we will exercise again in that instance our accountability role as members of Parliament. So we will have a decent look at it, but obviously we will fulfill our constitutional role along the way for the next 5 years.